The beauty launches in 2025 were a hot mess. People were absolutely outraged by Louis Vuitton's $160 lipsticks, James Charles sponge blind boxes, and Michaela Negreiro's POV lip kits. There were also a lot of rage bait and out-of-touch marketing, non-stop brand drama, and very confusing product launches that took over the internet. Wow. And the crazy part is, these are only a select few of the products that divided the beauty community, so I'm gonna catch you up on all of it. If you guys have been watching my videos for a long time, then you know I've spent all year keeping up with the newest beauty releases, sharing with you my critiques, my thoughts and opinions, and I thought it would be fun to wrap it all up, pick out some of the most controversial, messiest product launches, and just talk about them once more before we move on to 2026. So as you watch this video, I want to hear your thoughts, your opinions down in the comments below, and if there are any launches that I might have missed. In the beginning of the year, one of the most significant launches was from Rhode Skin. Now, Rhode has had a pretty big year in general with their $1 billion valuation from e.l.f. Beauty to being launched in Sephora. Rhode finally dropped their peptide lip shapes after months of Hailey Bieber teasing the product on her social media. Now, I wouldn't consider this launch a failure in popularity, but like a lot of her products, it did go viral immediately. The issue was that the website markets the lip shapes as a skincare hybrid, which means it's quote-unquote creamier than a typical lip liner and made to enhance lip volume. They never actually called it a lip liner in their marketing from what I know, hence the name lip shape and not lip liner. But some reviewers complained about how it came with very little product for $24. It had almost no staying power compared to other lip liners.
This is Stretch with lip gloss on. The best part, though, is that I can take it off really easy. So if you were wondering what the wear test is like and why nobody's posting wear test, that's probably why.
But then there were fans that defended it, saying that the negative reviewers just didn't realize it was meant to be more like a lip contour and not a liner.
I literally just went on the website because I was like, hold on, how are these marketed? And if you read it, it's saying it's a lip shaper that's creamy, it's effortless, and it creates a contoured effect. And I understand not wanting to push over consumption, but we need to keep in mind that every product has a target audience. And if you're not in that audience, that's okay. Like, no one's forcing you to buy it. That's the beauty of free will.
These are not a traditional lip liner. A traditional lip liner, when applied, is going to be creamy on application, but it's going to set down. The Rhode lip shapes are more sheer than a traditional lip liner. They're softer, they're creamier. Think of them more as a lipstick in a thin pencil form like this. Here's the traditional lip liner, here's the Rhode. Look at the difference in longevity. This is what the lip liner is going to do. The Rhode just blends out, which makes it great how I used it today as a background lip color to shape the lips, to contour the lips, exactly what the intention behind this is. But don't go in expecting that this is going to last all day. The longevity isn't there.
And this is going to be a pattern that we're going to see throughout this year's recap, where I feel like product marketing and consumer expectations just have not been matching for a lot of launches. That's all to say though, I personally want to see more innovation. So I hope that launches like this from Rhode don't discourage other brands from making tweaks to popular products and trying something new, because at the end of the day, anything new will always have some risk of confusion. But I think that's a good thing because that just encourages people to talk about it more. And I always say in all of my videos that products are just a matter of preference. Reviewers, depending on the reviewer, are sometimes going to put it in this category of black and white, good or bad, but when it comes to makeup, especially high-end makeup, it just really depends. So don't buy a product just because it's viral or it's, you know, endorsed by a celebrity. Buy products that are actually going to align with your routine and your preferences. At the end of the day, it's all about how you use a product, and you can always make something work even if it's not aligned with the marketing. Let's fast forward to March when Mikayla Negrero launched POV Beauty. It's supposed to be a makeup prep line inspired by Korean skincare. Whenever an influencer launches a brand, there's always going to be some type of controversy. But ever since Lashgate, Mikayla has gotten a lot of heat for just about everything she does. So when she first teased POV Beauty or Point of View Beauty, the reactions were all over the place as expected. Some people thought that the branding was kind of bland, like the packaging wasn't really interesting. And then there were other people who were just confused because she was launching skincare, not makeup, since she's known for makeup.
Is there a difference between like makeup prep skincare and normal skincare? Formulation wise, I don't know, but I guess when it comes to things like how heavy they layer up together, if they peel on the skin, then yeah, I guess there is such thing as makeup prep, right?
To me, is honestly skincare I would more so want to use at night with this many layers. Really? Whether or not it's skin prep, that's marketing.
The ads for the brand also showed her in just like full glam, which really just contradicted the whole concept of skincare and makeup prep. The fact that people had high expectations for this brand just shows how much influence she still has despite all of her scandals. You would think after Lashgate the trust wouldn't be there anymore, but her video still gets a lot of views and engagement. A good example of this was that she recently launched her holiday ambit lip kits, and each of these kits included a pigmented lip ampule, so there was color to it, and an extreme wear lip liner. In her original launch video, she made the lip ampule look very juicy and glossy, which, you know, is what a brand owner should be doing.
Yeah, gorgeous wash of color like this. None of that stringy, sticky residue. Or the reason it's called Amp It is because you can amp this up and get even more pigment. This is easily one of the prettiest shades. Now you have even more color. Still none of that stringy, sticky residue.
But once people got their hands on it, reviewers started showing that the formula was sticky and very stringy.
A lot of people have been saying that the lip ampules are very sticky. So I first applied a light layer and I didn't run into that issue. But I went in again and applied a little bit more. And unfortunately, it is very sticky. Like you can see in the video, it's very stringy. And it really doesn't smell like strawberry shortcake in my opinion.
Completely contradicting the video she made that insisted it wasn't stringy at all. And oddly, that original video from Mikayla has been deleted. On top of that, there were also delayed shipment issues as well. All right. I'm gonna be straight up. I like her. I like Mikayla and I like her content. I find her very entertaining. She's good at makeup, in my opinion, at least from my perspective. And she's really good at making and posting content. I can only dream of having that level of success. And I can definitely see her talent, and I'm not going to dogpile on the hate just because everyone else is hating on her. But also in the same breath, I can also admit that I think that her reviews are not trustworthy and are very questionable. She has reached a level of success where people love to hate on her, which ironically also helps her grow even more. And I do think she uses that to fuel the views, fuel the content, fuel the comments. And as someone who has also grown up outside of Boston, I do believe her accent is real, but definitely exaggerated. And again, to be honest, I wish I thought of that. I don't have a Boston accent, but I've had like small accents here and there that I've gotten rid of. And it's part of the, the shtick. It's part of the character. And that's just what the internet wants, is a little bit of entertainment. And I do find Mikayla entertaining. Anyways, what I also wanted to say was that brands and influencers like Mikayla succeed off of both these negative and positive reviews. And if you do not want these people to have a platform and you really hate people, the best thing you can do is to not buy from them. Unless you're getting gifted PR or you're a creator reviewing products for views, there are so many other indie brands or just quality brands in general that are worth giving attention to instead. It's one thing to hate watch, but it's also another thing to hate buy a product from a person that you don't like. And I know that's gonna be common sense for a lot of you, but also there's a side of the internet where I feel like people support creators by hating on them. which is interesting. And in the same month, Louis Vuitton announced their new beauty line, which became available in the fall. At first, everyone was very excited about this because Pat McGrath was going to be the creative director. But you guys, when they released the products and the prices, I think everyone, including myself, was shook about this because the lipsticks were $160. Palettes were, I think, over $250, which is even more expensive than Hermes, apparently. So people were saying that these prices were unacceptable, the brand is out of touch, and that for that price, the lipstick should apply itself.
You can already see how I felt about these products. I just know that coming across eyeshadows and lip pigments like this is not typical. This is definitely upscale, but you like what you like. And I like this. I like this.
Friend, look at it. It's like very luxurious. Look at the packaging. I am geeking out. Look at the top. Look at that top. And it's very heavy. I wonder what color I got. Oh, there's no shade name at the bottom. Oh my God, that's bougie. Look, there's literally no shade name at the bottom. That's how luxurious this is.
And Louis Vuitton did not disappoint. Huge congratulations to Pat McGrath for slaying the beauty line for Louis. This is such a beautiful experience.
But most people, from what I saw, were outraged by the price.
This has got to be the most boring lackluster eye I've done in months. $250 for this? For this? You know what? I'm skipping lipstick. I'm saving that for another time. I can't do this anymore. Ugh.
I think this was a shock because usually luxury beauty gives you a little taste of the brand at an entry-level price without having to buy, you know, an Hermes bag or a Louis Vuitton bag for thousands of dollars. But Louis Vuitton made it intentionally out of reach to feel exclusive. Now, I completely get the strategy, but if I personally had these products and bought them with my own money, I would low-key be very embarrassed for people to see and know that I paid that much for these products. And that's just coming from someone who buys makeup from brands like Dior and YSL and other luxury beauty brands. Like, I'm willing to splurge, but I'm already embarrassed that I paid a lot of money for like a $40 Dior lip gloss. Never mind $160 for a lipstick. I would be hiding that in my bag and applying it secretly because I would feel very judged for it, I'm not gonna lie. And ironically, a few months later in May, Dior decided to launch their Lip Butters, which is a glorified lip gloss lip balm hybrid. We've seen it many times on the market, but they retailed for $40 a pop. The main controversy was that people felt like they were charging a very high price for something that looks like drugstore packaging with just a Dior charm added to it.
Why is this $42? I have never seen Dior cheap out so much on a product.
But now that we compare this to Louis Vuitton, $40 doesn't seem so bad. But as you can tell, the theme this year was overpriced lip products. Let's not bring this energy to 2026, okay? Now, back in June, Trendmood announced Anastasia Beverly Hills' new powder bronzers. It's basically a reformulated, upgraded version. It came in 8 shades, retailing for $38, also a more expensive version, actually. But the controversy wasn't about the formula, it was actually about the images posted on Trendmood. When they shared these images and the swatches, people immediately noticed how off they looked. Some of the shades appeared washed out, gray, and ashy, especially for bronzers. So there were one side where, you know, people with fair skin were excited about this, but then the rest were very confused about why these looked like, honestly, contours or just a very pale, uninclusive shade range. But Anastasia herself, the CEO and founder of ABH, clarified that these weren't the real life colors. She actually made a comment that said, "They look ashy in this picture. You have to see them in stores. They're gorgeous." I did see them in person. They definitely look warmer in person, but even then, the depth and the undertones of these bronzers are still lacking, which I think continues to be a problem for bronzers in 2025.
This formula looks incredible, but I don't want to recommend it because there's not enough shades in this category. Like, that's my shade. That's the shade I'm using.
That's what the shades are looking like on me, so exactly as I thought, ashy. Y'all, what is the shade range? Like, this is the darkest shade, and I'm not even sure if it's coming up on camera, but it just looks so ashy purpley.
The photos on Trendmood definitely gave this product a bad first impression. They did not even have a second to prove themselves to the internet. But I think the lesson here is that if you are interested in a product, just go into the store to see the product shade range if you can before you buy it blindly, because product swatches and pictures will 100% catfish you, and I don't want you to waste your money. And in the same month, Patrick Ta decided to relaunch his highlighter duos. The original release had a lot of complaints. It was his signature powder and cream combo.
Lightly brush it wherever I want that highlight. I think this shade is gonna blend perfectly with my blush. It's just in person, it really texturized compared to this side. It is with my makeup underneath. It is completely removing it, scattering it.
This cream formula is very emollient forward, meaning there are ingredients in here to help with skin conditioning, shine, and slip, but what's giving it the hardness is the synthetic wax down here. That's going to not make it mushy. Now the caveat is that synthetic wax comes in multiple forms, and what me and some of my peers think is that the manufacturer is not using the correct synthetic wax. Some synthetic waxes can provide more hardness and some are not as hard, and so if the manufacturer swapped it out, that's why we're getting mushy creams.
Now Patrick Ta decided to drop a better, more improved version.
Starting off with My Love, the reformulated creams are a blend of high melting waxes and oils to really give you that like melted, lit from within, skin-like glow.
Which means that people who already bought the first one basically had to spend another $40 if they wanted to get the better, updated formula. So people were furious about this and wondered why they didn't get it right the first time. Now the main issue that I see here isn't that Patrick Ta improved the formula, because brands do that all the time. They reformulate, especially if there's an ingredient they can no longer use. We still complain, especially if they are changing formulas that we love. I absolutely hate when brands reformulate things that I already like. In this case, it was being reformulated because it technically wasn't good enough and wasn't getting good reviews, although there were some people that liked it. I think the biggest issue is that it hasn't been long since the release of the first formula, and there were also quality inconsistencies, which seems to be a common trend with Patrick Ta's brand. I want to love his product so much. I love his matte eyeshadow palette, but it's just really hard to recommend a product, especially in a luxury price range, when the quality is not consistent. Then Huda Beauty dropped the lip contour lip stain, which is supposed to be very long wearing. The idea was that the applicator would be more comfortable than traditional marker stains like CoverGirl's.
These lip liners are super, super innovative, and I'll tell you guys why. First of all, the tip is made in Japan, and this tip is so special to me. This is really one of the things that I love so much about this. The formula is also amazing, which we'll talk about in a second. But the tip allows you to do this like liner, but also fill your lip. It's a flocked tip. It's very similar to a doe foot.
Which that was not the issue. In the beginning, there were some very positive reviews about the longevity and how it would last through meals, but then there were some reviews that said the product dried out too fast, and as you apply it, the stain would kind of get dry, so it had to be stored upside down.
Now, lip stains are difficult, so I'm not going to say it's super, super easy. It does dry fast, and it does have to be stored tip down. It's a stain, it's a liquid, it's also water-based. Once you get to use it and you get it right, you're going to love it.
Which people felt like, you know, was a ripoff for the price that you were paying. Huda Beauty did end up making a video to educate people on the product, but it just still wasn't enough.
It's literally 1 milliliter of product, one single freaking milliliter for $25. The staining power, insane. The color's gorgeous, but I couldn't even finish outlining my lips without the pen drying out.
This whole release debacle reminds me a lot of the Rhode Skin lip contour shapers. The complaints were very similar, especially about the amount of product for the price. Maybe that's become a new lip product thing. I have no idea. Shrinkflation. And personally, I think that if NYX hadn't released something similar at a cheaper price with more shades that are not red and pink, Huda's launch might have looked a little bit more appealing. I've tried both of them, and I do think Huda's 100% performed better in terms of longevity, and I do prefer the applicator of Huda's, but I like the shades of NYX better, and it's cheaper. So that's the product I'm gonna go with and repurchase. And in this era, we just have so many options. It's a lot more difficult to justify higher cost products unless the brand is bringing something more unique and new to the table. But from a consumer standpoint, I will remind you that sometimes it's just worth waiting for alternative options and dupes, because once something trends, we're gonna see a lot of it. And if you feel like something expensive is expensive, just wait to see if other brands launch something that's more better aligned with your budget. Now, this is a controversy that was a lot more unexpected. It was definitely not on my bingo card for 2025, but Urban Decay was under fire for reformulating their all-nighter setting spray. Originally, the spray was made in partnership with Skindinavia, who had been behind the formula for 15 years. And when the partnership ended, things got really messy, y'all. Skindinavia publicly called out Urban Decay on Instagram, claiming the brand was allegedly ripping off their patented formula, and the problem came down to the cooling technology. Skindinavia's original spray was the first makeup setting spray apparently to work by cooling the makeup, not just sealing it, and the patent is still theirs, but allegedly Urban Decay's new version removed these active cooling ingredients. I don't know if they tried to like mimic it or reverse engineer or something, I have no idea, but either way, in their marketing, they made it seem like the reformulated spray performed the same as the original, even though technically it's different and it might not have the same cooling technology. I do like the way that Skindinavia handled it as marketing tactic. It was a little ballsy, but also kind of smart on their part, because they encouraged people to buy from them directly instead with the end of the partnership, rather than just kind of staying quiet and hoping people support them. So if you like the original Urban Decay all-nighter setting spray, then just buy from Skindinavia instead and support a smaller brand. And let's not forget that this was the year of rage bait marketing. e.l.f. launched a legal themed campaign called Elfino and Schmarns. I have a whole video about this if you want to learn about it in detail, but this wasn't an actual product launch, it was just a major controversy, so I wanted to include it anyways. The video ad featured Heidi N. Closet and comedian Matt Rife. The idea was meant to call out overpriced makeup, but the casting of Matt Rife created a lot of outrage because he previously made DV jokes, which was completely contradicting for a brand who markets primarily towards women. e.l.f. did end up apologizing and admitted they missed the mark, but it wasn't a very good apology. It's still a mystery whether this was intentional rage bait, but many people believe that it is. Whether it was on purpose or not, this definitely left a bad taste in my mouth, and I just cannot look at e.l.f. the same. Fast forward to October, James Charles released blind box makeup sponges for his brand Painted. Each box was supposed to be completely random with equal odds of receiving one of 6 colors. To make it more exciting, a few of the boxes were going to include golden mystery sponges, which meant you would get the full collection and other major random prizes. The idea itself wasn't the problem. I actually kind of think it was a good idea, even though I'm a little confused why people would want a mystery box of basic sponges, but that's neither here nor there. The problem was the randomization of it went wrong. When the blind boxes launched internationally in the UK, customers started noticing a pattern. Many people received multiple sponges in the same color. So they would buy 12 and they would get 12 purple sponges, which is crazy.
Purple! Oh my god, it's huge. Oh my god, it's actually really big. I really want, the colors that I really want are purple, pink, red, and blue. Really any color except for that green one. Or that yellow one, what's it called? Chartreuse? I don't want that one. Purple! I've been seeing that people from the UK are getting the same colors over and over. Bruh. What the fudge?
James did address the issue, explaining that the randomization step didn't happen for the UK shipments properly.
At the end of the manufacturing process, when all 6 colors are boxed, they then get mixed and shuffled and randomized all around so that the blind boxes are actually blind. Well, unfortunately, for some reason, that mixing and randomization process did not happen with only the shipment that was sent over to the UK. Whole shipment of red sponges, a separate of orange, a separate box of chartreuse, blue, purple, pink, when it was supposed to be several different boxes, already mixed together.
He also promised replacement orders for the affected customers.
It's affected about 500 of our customers. The second that the next shipment comes in, I am automatically going to send out the same number of sponges that you originally ordered, but actually randomized this time.
Like, I just thought about it, and the girl that bought 12 sponges, each one cost $10, I believe, which means you spent $120 on 12 purple sponges. And this year, the nostalgic collabs continued. Kylie Jenner ended up bringing back one of her more iconic eras with the King Kylie collection, celebrating 10 years of Kylie Cosmetics. She launched matte lip kits, glosses, and eyeshadow palette, all bringing back the original 2015-16 King Kylie vibe. When this was hinted at, comments were very optimistic, and people loved the idea of a throwback, and they were asking for the OG shades, the formulas, and the OG packaging, which overall she did. But on the other side of things, fans felt like Kylie wasn't fully committing to the King Kylie persona in this launch because she was still leaning into her clean girl look instead of full glam. And others thought it was a bad attempt to revive this era, especially with Kylie's history of cultural appropriation.
A lot of her brand, what at that time was influenced by Black culture, Blac Chyna, Tyga, being the puppet master.
Guys, if she fully committed, if she fully went all out, she would be cancelled. Cancelled. I feel like we all seem to be forgetting that this used to be her aesthetic. Guys, like, this era was messy. She looked like this for most of it. Like, that is not her. Like, imagine she went and did this again.
Now, my version of nostalgia is watching old Tarte trip vlogs, which they're still doing. And every year, Tarte continues to get major backlash over their influencer trips, and it seems like it's something slightly different every time. To be fair, they have said before that this is their marketing budget. Instead of paying for traditional ads, they put money into this experience, and I think for a while that actually worked. And I'm assuming it's still working, but it's surprising. This year they went to Turks and Caicos, and instead of people aspirationally watching, a lot of viewers were actually very vocal about how these trips are turning them off from Tarte as a brand. And usually there are always critiques about these trips, to the point where Tarte ended up making efforts to do a giveaway for non-influencers to join the Tarte trip. A huge theme in the comments was people saying that these trips are de-influencing them, that it feels wasteful watching influencers party, get drunk, get products, and live out these luxury experiences, especially in the current climate. And honestly, if the goal was bad press or negative brand recognition, I do think they're succeeding. But I'm gonna put this in the category of a failure to launch because I don't even know what products they're launching on this trip. The only products I saw in some of their TikTok videos was a collaboration between Tarte and Truly for what looked to be their lip gloss. At this point, I think the beauty industry is more saturated than ever. There are more brands, more makeup artists, more launches, and more new products that anyone can realistically keep up with. And at the same time, I think we are also a lot more informed. We're more intentional and extra aware of our overconsumption now. So I would personally label this as our critical era in the beauty community, and that's not a bad thing. I actually think it's a very good thing. I hope that it means that beauty will eventually evolve into something better. There has been a lot of negativity around the beauty community and the products launching, the brands, the influencers. I think we're at a point where we just want a refresh, something new, something different. I don't know what that's going to be, but I'm very optimistic that at some point there is going to be a shift that revives what we loved about beauty in the first place. And a lot of people are still holding on to that 2015, 2016 era of like beauty YouTube, but I don't think that's going to happen again because what we know now is too much, right? I don't think that can be brought back in the same way. Just kind of like almost like the King Kylie era, how she's trying to bring it back, but like you can't really bring it back because that was just a different time. So within the next 5 years, I'm optimistic and I hope that little things here and there make a shift. So I would love to hear what your trend predictions are for 2026. What do you guys want to see more of that's not nostalgic, not tutorials? I've heard it all. I want to hear, like, what do you think would refresh the community to make it a little bit more fun and inviting? And thank you all for the absolutely most incredible year. Not gonna lie, it was rough for me, but the highlight was definitely making these videos, connecting with y'all. If you did watch all of my beauty critiques, I really appreciate it. I love all of the support and it means a lot to me. So with all that being said, I'll catch you in the next year.